Free the Mind and Rediscover Yourself is a collection of personal, heartfelt stories of courage as individuals from diverse perspectives in Africa have embraced the teachings of Brahma. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure that we introduce our guest, Dr. Raksha, or for the moment, I would just refer to as Sister Raksha, but she is a doctor by profession. We just would like to inform you that this is a recorded interview, but we are live in the studio with you. After the recording, we will be able to take some questions or if there's clarity needed or some suggestions, that would also be nice. But please just sit back and enjoy the conversation between myself and Sister Raksha. And we will then pick up from the recorded interview or conversation, as I said, giving her elaborate CV as an introduction and then into the rest of the program. So welcome, Dr. Raksha Paul Badher. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the listeners for their time. If you just say hello to us, and then we can play the recording.
Hello, and good afternoon. It's wonderful to be with all of you this afternoon. And I look forward to hearing what we shared about, I think, a year ago. So it will be wonderful to just listen in, and then we can have a chat with everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting the video. Thanks.
No problem at all. Free the Mind and Rediscover Yourself is a collection of personal, heartfelt stories of courage as individuals from diverse perspectives in Africa have embraced the teachings of Brahma Kumaris to enrich their lives and those around them to live with peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Greetings, everybody. Just to give you a brief background about the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University. In a world torn apart by materialism, we yearn for a world and life of peace, happiness, dignity, and prosperity. Brahma Kumaris is the presence in over 120 countries, including 40 countries in Africa, has been offering a universal teaching of spiritual since 1974. The real commitment is to helping individuals transform their perspectives of the world from material to spiritual. It supports the cultivation of deep collective consciousness of peace and of the individual dignity of each soul. Being Free is a collection of personal stories of courage as individuals from diverse perspectives in Africa have embraced spirituality and spiritual principles through the teachings of Brahma Kumaris to enrich their lives and live with peace, courage, wisdom in an ever-increasing world of chaos. Well, we have a lovely guest that I'm going to be talking to, and she's all the way from Durban. And I just want to welcome Sister, or let me properly pronounce the credentials, Dr. Raksha Balberham. She is a medical doctor. Welcome, Sister Raksha.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be with all of you. I love the topic, being free. So excellent. Look forward to the chat.
Okay, no, wonderful. Thank you. Well, Sister Raksha, yes, just to get straight into it because we have time constraints. You started your university life way back in 1996. And through that period when you started, you then, I think you had some agendas that you wanted to pursue, and you were looking for meditation, you were looking for some peacefulness, and through all your research that you've done, you've
ended up in 1999 that you have been introduced to the Brahma Kumaris, or you have found your calling through the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University, particularly Raja Yoga, which is a knowledge that we all seek to have peace. You then, Sister, could you just maybe, we'll talk about you graduated in 2001, but just that interim from 1996 to 1999, what were you searching for? How was your journey, and how did you actually arrive at coming into the Brahma Kumaris Spiritual University and gaining knowledge?
Thank you. So my journey, after leaving school in Durban, I went to the University of Cape Town to study medicine. And whilst I was there, it was such a wonderful experience, of meeting individuals from diverse cultures, coming from a little town in Durban where, there wasn't much interaction. And so it was wonderful being exposed to my friends from all parts of South Africa. And I loved medicine and learning and studying and growing. I had great friends. I was planning a European tour with some of my friends in the year 2000. And so at the end of 1998, I could feel that, there was a growing restlessness inside. I felt that I had everything, and, pursuing a career where I could possibly make a difference in the world, had wonderful friends, I had a job whilst studying medicine and enjoying the study of medicine. But inside, I could see that no matter how things may be going my way, there was an influence of the atmosphere on my experience of life. And so if colleagues, friends were feeling depressed or sad, I also began to absorb that energy. And I felt that if I really wanted to make a difference in the world, I needed to be very solid, stable, and uninfluenced or affected by everything and everyone. And that was the search for a stability, a power that could allow me to make a lasting difference, not a momentary difference, and then allowing my energy to wane and then improve my energy. And so I remember telling a friend that, this is how I'm feeling, and she said, why don't you try this meditation? And from the first moment I stepped into the meditation center and I began the study of Raja Yoga, it was absolutely what I was looking for, because I soon realized that I wasn't just this physical entity with this physical name and role and job description, but I was this untouchable, beautiful, powerful spirit. And no matter what happened outside, it could not rob me of that energy that I am inside. And so I remember experimenting very quickly with the concepts with my friends. And when there were situations or change in energy or sadness, I would just switch on the awareness of myself being this ever-flowing, powerful energy, and just support the atmospheres that I was in, be it in the classroom of 160 medical students or with a friend, quietly, not sharing what I was doing, but just filling that energy spaces with wonderful feelings. And as I did that, it started to flow through me first, and I started to feel so uplifted, and I felt that I was then making a difference in an unlimited way, not in a limited way, because I think at that very young age, I already felt a sense of hopelessness in making that difference physically. And so being able to touch and come to understand a non-physical way was very restoring for me.
Yes.
So I know a little bit of a long answer, but
Oh, well, I'm quite intrigued that at the age of 21, I mean, that's young, and you then seek for this path that you've chosen. Amazing. And yes, a lovely story to tell. Well, you graduated in 2001 as a medical doctor. And after completing your medical degree, you moved in to live in a center. And you are still living in that center. And you then obviously lending your skills to the activities of the Brahma Kumaris at the center, which you are also to support and uplift the communities in their lifestyles. And you're also still actively practicing as a medical doctor then when you moved in at 2001 or 2002. And of course, you've also worked at many of the hospitals in South Africa. Could you just share a little bit about that? I mean, your paths just continued and you moved straight into a center.
Yes. So, so I just felt, I wanted to always support the wonderful activities of the Brahma Kumaris because I had personally benefited so much. And so I wanted to be part of that process to share this spiritual understanding with those around me. And I thought it would be easy to live quietly in an apartment and work as a medical doctor, but why not, live and be fully involved in the activities and the sharing of all that the Brahma Kumaris has to share whilst working. So whilst working in, doing my internship in a very big secondary hospital, doing my community service, and wherever I worked, I always then lived and supported and allowed myself to be used to share the understanding, be it at work or when I got back from work at the meditation centers. And so the meditation itself and the atmosphere supported me in my work. And then I could also be there physically to then be available to help with the activities from the meditation centers. And it's wonderful, to begin your morning with that powerful experience of meditation and study, and then taking that into your day, whilst in the world people may not know your background, but just living your principles and quietly living your values, how people know that there's something different and want to know more, and not just physically, like I said, but just spiritually, one is having an impact on the environments that one walks into. And and so up to current, I still work in very busy working environment. So now I work in the field of palliative medicine. I seem to have always worked in fields of crises, so anesthetics, emergency medicine, busy clinics, and now in the field of palliative medicine. But in all the chaos, like was in your introduction, an ever-changing, chaotic world that we're living in, my foundation and my core, is the spirituality. I know many of my colleagues ask me, but how do you do it? Because sometimes I may have helped and lost. Just last month, 14 patients, and so some of my colleagues, ask, but how do you do it? Because it's very emotionally charged fields. But definitely, it is my quiet time, my meditation time, my study that supports me.
Well, sister, I mean, yes, I mean, one can just imagine how you needed to organize your time, with your medical background and treating people, and also doing your spiritual work at the fullest that you can do it at. Yeah, it's amazing how you find the time. But just to pick up on some other things that I'd like to touch on is that you also founded a sister organization of the UK-based Junkie Foundation in SA to support the health workers in SA using a spiritual approach to the values in healthcare. And of course, you've ran many, many workshops over time. And you also indicated that, you know, your palliative medicine, you also sit on the board of the PALPRAC. And this VIASA is something that you created, and it's a non-profit organization way back in 2006. Again, I question, you know, your time and your time management of how do you give your fullness to all the stuff happening around you.
Yeah, so the VIHASA, or Values in Healthcare Association of South Africa, was created, you know, by a group of us who had especially been exposed to an extremely valuable program called the Values in Healthcare, a Spiritual Approach. And that was a program created in the UK to support healthcare workers who were burnt out and were experiencing compassion fatigue. And very early in my journey as a medical doctor in South Africa, I recognized that this is definitely a program that we need in South Africa. And so in 2004, I had trained in that program in London, and there were about 5 of us who had, you know, trained in that program from South Africa. And so we got together and we began in our spare time to offer these workshops to support our colleagues who had such big hearts and wanted to touch lives and make a difference, like I had begun in my profession, but not knowing how to, you know, focus on your values and what you have to offer. We can get slowly smothered, and the light can almost go out in a healthcare worker when the stressors from outside can become so extensive. And so that was the feeling, you know, in medicine for many. And so a few of us got together, and locally in Pietermaritzburg and KZN, we began to run workshops, and then it flourished with little pockets throughout South Africa. We had many national trainings, Southern African trainings to train and to support healthcare workers, to support their staff. And so like that, we've held about 7 trainings, and we've had about 300 to 400 individuals who had trained and conducted hundreds of workshops across South Africa, Southern Africa, and the little Dorpies and different parts of South Africa. And for me, it was really so beautiful because, you know, to be able to understand myself and then quietly to facilitate such a process with my beautiful colleagues who also have such big hearts and want to help the world. You know, whenever I ran the workshops, it was such a beautiful opportunity to go through the process myself as I facilitated the sessions, but also to meet amazing mothers and women and caregivers and healthcare workers from all ranges, from all grades and of healthcare. And they'd all come together, and through a process of listening and dialogue, meditation, visualization, playfulness, creativity, they would learn from each other in learning communities and focus on who they are and why they are in the field of health, and reconnect with that, so that the stressors would not put out their light. And so the vision of the program was that if we care for ourselves as lakes, we can care for our communities. And so to keep the self replenished, and then eventually, you know, if in every 5K radius in South Africa, we have a clinic, and if all clinics are taken care of, we can take care of the nation. And so that was the vision, a beautiful vision and a beautiful and powerful program to support healthcare workers. I know COVID has brought into the light the need to not just care for a healthcare worker, but also appreciate the healthcare worker and their purest intentions, but how the challenges of many physical stressors can be quite a lot for a healthcare worker and can break them and break their purpose. So yes, so that was the Values in Healthcare program. And
Yes.
of late, you mentioned PALPRAC. So that's another aspect.
I just wanted to pick up on that as well. You know, you're palliative medicine, you are a specialist in, and your work has been extensive. You've been supporting and giving the most crucial time, helping people to live a life of quality, physio, socially, and existentially until they transition peacefully. You know, that was a mouthful I said, but that's the patience you have and the area of the work that you are doing. I also want to sort of ask you the measure of, you know, how do you work parallel with this, you know, your spirituality, as well as this difficult job that you do. I mean, is it a great part of your spirituality that gives you this courage to work within that area of work? Of course, you study this, and I think this is spirituality just enhancing this and giving you the energies to continue in this. I mean, for me, it's you know, when I just ask the question to you, I'm sad in many ways, but you are facing this on a daily basis, and how do you cope with it?
Yes, so palliative medicine is such a beautiful field, although not really understood in the world and especially in Africa. So it's the ability as a medical practitioner to support a person holistically. So about 10 years ago, there was just a feeling that I wanted to bring all aspects of myself together. And the thought came to pursue a study in palliative medicine because it looks at the whole being, not just the physical entity, which biomedical medicine does. So palliative medicine looks at the symptoms and supports the symptoms of somebody with stage 4 cancer or stage 4 cardiac failure or lung disease, motor neuron disease. So it looks at all life-threatening illnesses and how to support somebody, not just physically, but looking at their fears, so psychologically, looking at their social network, and not just seeing the patient as an individual, but as a family unit. So supporting the family as well as the patient, and also existentially or spiritually to help them come to peace, because one transitions with them, moves through with them from a diagnosis, right, to the moment when they transition or they pass on. And like I think I was sharing with you, you know, the other day, a lady asked me, so are you the one who is going to walk this road with me? And sometimes when I hear things like this, it just, you know, makes me realize that it's such a beautiful and powerful role, and I have to keep myself supported and sustained so that I can hold the hand of these individuals who have come into my life for a reason. And so I don't ever feel that I've just that I have a job that I have to do, but I feel that, you know, I'm being guided to support certain precious individuals on this journey. And it's no coincidence that I have to meet them and I have to journey with them, looking at all domains of their life and helping them come to peace. So it's not that when I leave the patient, they leave my mind, but, you know, but luckily with my practice of meditation, it supports me to do my best and to then let go and to be very present in every interaction. So in a day, I may see 6 or 7 patients with possibly stage 4 cancer, and some, in the terminal stages, some not, and the rich conversations. And it's not only the words you speak, but the presence you carry. And so I really feel that, my meditation has supported me to do the inner work. And because I ensure that I am doing that inner work and there's a cleanliness and a power inside, that energy does hold them and support them, even if I can't touch them because of COVID. I can be there, and my energy keeps them peaceful and safe. Not just the medicine, be it the opioids or the strong medication that is needed in that stage of illness. And also they feel safe because I'm not somebody who's subjectively involved, because I'm more objective. They feel safe to volunteer their thoughts, their fears, and to also just be there to listen to them, to listen to family members, and to guide them, to come to peace, be it through their spaces of worship and priests and imams, or just through that inner journey of spirituality, because nowadays many rely on their spirituality more than formal traditions and religions. And I also do relaxations with them and guided imagery on the untouchable spirit, so helping them understand that I'm more than my body. I'm this untouchable spirit, and a lot may happen to my body, but nothing and no one can take away who I am. And so to hold on to that dignity of who I am, and remember why I've traveled through this time and what I've had to offer, and to hold on to that even at the last moment. And so a very amazing field, and really many other amazing individuals who work in this field throughout South Africa. It's a budding specialization in South Africa, with many amazing individuals who are colleagues as well.
Yes. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I mean, it's not many of us have a full understanding of palliative medicine, but you're currently part of a team that's running you on an ongoing basis, supporting individuals through loss and grief in the challenging times which you've spoke about. I mean, COVID has also been a difficult time when all this is sort of happening. And Dr. Raksha, I mean, you obviously work for yourself. This work you do where you go to people's homes and you offer your services and your spiritual vibrations of dealing with things. I mean, that's a challenge in its own, going into somebody's home and have to bring all those many souls around the person who is ill. Also, I think the extended family of the person who's ill, do you also deal with them? I mean, not from a medication kind of point of view, but just how do you also cope with the extended families that you are visiting these homes?
So in palliative medicine, we also understand, because it's a high crisis situation, when your loved one is about to pass away, and is about to die, everyone can go into turmoil. And there's a term for that. It's called family turmoil. And so we actually study about that, and then how to have these family meetings to address the concerns of the family members, so that we can support them, because often all that is needed is understanding. And so to be there to provide that psychosocial support, not just the physical support as the medicine, but also the psychosocial support for the family, for the patient. And a lot of the work is that as well. And it's amazing, when somebody understands and their fears are broken down, how much peace they can have. I had a patient, who, when I visited, she shared that I'm fine. I've come to understand what I'm going through, but it's him. She was signaling to her son, a young son who could not accept, had not eaten for 3 days. And so he asked me to please meet him, not even in the home, because of his anxiety in dealing with the potential loss of his mom. And I had to meet him somewhere separate from the home, and I sat and shared and did a relaxation. And after an hour plus, he went home, and after 3 days he ate. And his mom then told me, you spoke to him, didn't you? And she was so relieved. So she was in such anxiety because her family was in anxiety. And when her son, finally relaxed and could spend quality time with her, she could relax, and she felt at peace and ready then to embrace her symptoms physically, which seemed to improve after that. So a lot of our symptoms can also be influenced by unattended psychosocial stressors, spiritual stressors. And so it's not just that one needs to treat with medication, but to look at the whole picture. Often I have patients who have pain that cannot be treated despite the high doses of strong medication. And if you just listen and be present, the patient volunteers, about the challenges in a relationship, and as they can work through it. I remember one of my patients, he used to tell me, a young man with a colon cancer, he used to say, no, my pain is there, but I know what I have to work on now, and I'm doing it. So semi-comatose, but he was closing the chapters of his life, coming to balance with all the unfinished business in his relationships, in his circumstances. And so yes, palliative medicine, an amazing spiritual field, I feel, where one can learn so much. So for myself, even though I've been on this journey of spirituality for 21 years, I myself learn a lot. I take what I have learned to my workspace, and my workspace allows me to learn more about humanity and to learn more about myself, and then and to merge the two worlds. And so, like I shared, for me, it's not work, but it's a beautiful opportunity to grow and develop even further, and to learn from each and every being that I come into contact, and the family as well.
Just briefly, how do you still maintain the compassion, and yet you can still be detached from all of this? And you are, just talking to you, I just feel how enthusiastic and how, you almost have given this calling to this kind of work that you are doing. How do you remain detached from all this in your normal space?
So so like I was sharing, when I meet the individual, I really am present, and I understand that I'm not just there as a medical practitioner, but I try and be very present, not just treating the body, but seeing and understanding the journey of the soul, and accordingly offering the best that I can in the moment. And in every consult, I make sure I look at those 4 domains. Once I've sorted out everything physically, I look at the psychological. I give them time and space and then look at the social aspects. And even if later I have to connect with family members to see how they are doing, and then also spiritually, I feel, taking care of my own spirituality helps others come into their spirituality. So first and foremost, when I'm with a patient, I'm very present, and it may take an hour, 2 hours, more than that at times, but I give that time and that space, and if there is things that needs to be attended to during the week, attended to, and I hand them over. And I also believe, like I shared, that I'm not in this alone, and that I feel I'm guided, and whoever I'm supposed to meet, I'm supposed to take not just my energy, but a higher source of energy to that individual. And so whilst I meet them, holding on to a higher energy, so I don't use my energy only, because if I were to do that, I would burn out. I would be exhausted and depleted and reconsider, so because I'm not in this alone, I do feel that support, and I feel it's a privilege to be able to walk that journey with someone, and not alone, but with my own spiritual support of the Supreme, and not imposing my values on anyone, but luckily in South Africa, when I did my master's research on dignity in the dying, we found that the South African community is an amazing community that relies on a higher source of support, or on their spirituality. So in some countries in the world, you cannot even mention spirituality, but we are fortunate in South Africa that many turn inward and turn upward to a higher source of support to help them through, and it is their faith in the invisible that gets them through this time. And so just myself paying attention to that aspect in my helps them, I think, invisibly to come closer to their own spirituality without me saying a word. And then I find that definitely each and every one's pure wishes are fulfilled. Just today, I got a call from an oncologist to say one of my patients, has taken a dip, and she doesn't see that his end is far, and she and I shared that the pillow, he wanted it to be a quick exit, because he was, well, not that that's what we do, but I but that he's such an active man who enjoyed the outdoors and lived every minute, up early in the morning, cannot stop still, and so he would not allow cancer to get the better of him. And I remember a few months ago telling him, don't worry, your pure intentions will be fulfilled. And today, getting that call, he was well until yesterday when I saw him, and suddenly taking a dive. I can see how, again, like many of my patients, those who are highly independent and don't want it to be a slow process, so it will be. So this law as well, that evolution. So never to fear that part of life. Live life fully, day by day, and know that as are your wishes, so it will be. So there's a beautiful saying we have in palliative medicine that one day at a time. So live with hope, but prepare for the worst. So live fully each day, and then to prepare, but to live with that hope until the last moment. So yeah, so that's some thoughts. So for me, watching how definitely everyone's wish is fulfilled. Sometimes people worry about that time, but their worries never even come to be, because their intentions get fulfilled. So, many can spend so many weeks worrying, and then just to be reassured that, that may never come to be. Today we can drive out of your home and you're gone in a second.
Yes.
And yet you could have planned and so.
Well, sister, yeah, it's incredible just hearing you sharing this with, without blinking an eyelid, of how you fulfilling your calling, as I sort of said earlier. But, unfortunately, I wish we had lots of time. We've come to the end, but there's something that, we speak about in South Africa. What would your message be to Africa, and the world at large? What could you share? What would your message be?
Yeah, I love Africa. So for me, I love South Africa, and the heart and the spirit of Africa is unsurpassable. That's my definite feeling. We have a resilience and a heart that no one else in the world may have. And so for me, like I've shared throughout this interview, know yourself, live from your heart, and stay connected to that divine, and keep dancing through life. I know, working in many of the hospitals with all my amazing colleagues, no matter what they may be going through, how challenging their lives may be, one could still dance and sing, and my heart just surges with so much energy watching individuals who may have had amazing challenges, such difficulties, but can still dance and laugh and sing. And so continue to dance and sing through life, staying true to who you are, staying connected to that source. Like I said, faith in Africa is amazing, and it is their power. And so stay connected to that supreme God, and allow that being to guide you through your life. I know in the hospitals at 7 a.m., before one shift can start their day, I used to love just being quiet as the nurses would say a prayer for the morning, and it was the most beautiful thing in the hospitals. No matter what, nobody would start their duty without a beautiful prayer that would be sung with so much love for the divine. And so definitely, I think that is the heart of Africa. And never forget who you are and why you're here, and stay connected to that divine, and let the divine guide you. And so that's the message.
Well, sister, I think that's such a lovely message. And I think to end off on that good note of who we are and how happy we should be, would you give us some spiritual intoxication with the commentary of meditation?
Yes, so I can guide you through.
Straight into it, if you don't mind.
Sorry?
You can go straight into it.
Okay, great. Okay, so I invite you now just to relax. So maybe it's been a long day, and I invite you to just sit comfortably in your chairs and take a deep breath in, just filling your lungs with peace. And as I breathe out all the stale air in my lungs. Once again, I take a deep breath in, and I breathe out. And as I'm seated here, I just invite my entire body to become totally relaxed. I thank these feet for carrying me on an amazing journey through life, step by step. And I just relax these precious feet. I relax my legs, my back, I straighten my spine. Just taking a deep breath once again, filling my lungs with peace. And I breathe out, just relaxing my neck and shoulders. And I just listen to the words that are being shared and feel and experience the words and go on a journey. Relaxing my neck and shoulders, we can carry so much tension in these shoulders. And I just relaxed them down to the tips of my fingers. I relax my scalp and face and jaw. Asks of all the roles and responsibilities I have to play in the drama of life, and I can just be me, becoming fully present. I visualize a beautiful, untouchable light, like a star, just softly glowing in the center of my forehead. And this light just flows so gently, so powerfully, like soft ocean waves, carrying peace and light into my mind. And this peace and light flows down my neck, just massaging my shoulders, down my arms, down my body to the tips of my toes. And it's like gentle ocean waves just bathing all my trillions of cells in absolute peace and light. And my trillions of cells just drink up this peace, this light. This is who I am, this beautiful, precious, untouchable light energy. And a lot may happen in this body, in relationships, in the world, but I am safe inside. Nothing can touch me. And as this light, I just rest in an ocean of light and love. And I allow the love of that divine to just refuel and recharge me. And I just soak in this ocean of love and light. I am not alone. I am supported. I am loved. I am valued. I am protected. And filling up, I then overflow with this cleanest, purest, most powerful, peaceful, and loving energy that just flows into my room, into the world, to touch all 7.8 billion lights of the world, all the precious living lights, all of humanity. In this way, I can stay above and compassionate and loving to all. I know who I am, who I belong to, and why I am here. And this is my anchor. And now gently, I bring my awareness back to this room, whilst taking this journey to my world. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Shanti. Thank you very much, Dr. Raksha, for your time and for this engaging, wonderful stories to share. I hope we get an opportunity to do this again at some point.
Thank
Shanti.
you for the wonderful interview. Thank you so much, Kadravelin. Thanks.
It's a pleasure.
So, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time again, listening to the recorded conversation that we had. What powerful stuff that was shared, you know, that the wonders of spirituality and the connection of the Supreme Being that can make these wonderful differences. So thanks again to Dr. Raksha. I now open, you know, for questions and possibly clarity that you want. And I'm sure Sister Raksha will, with pleasure, try and cover any of clarity, but also to answer your questions. So please, let's engage. Anyone can ask a question.
Greetings. Greetings. This is Curie from Kenya.
Greetings, Brother Curie.
How are you, Brother?
I'm very well.
Doctor.
Thank you for connecting.
Greetings, Dr. Raksha. It was really, I have to say, it was really wonderful watching and seeing your internal energy glow as you spoke. Your enthusiasm and your light is very, very, very powerful. So that was a joy to see. I have a little question, and one of the last things you said, which I thought was very, very, very good and very, very important, is this aspect of enjoying life no matter what is happening, being able to dance and sing, whatever the situation. So how do you pass that message across to somebody who is going through something like towards the end of their life, basically? How do you because I would imagine that that is such a dark, could be dark, perceived as a dark period for them. So how do you tell somebody who's like dark, enjoy it, enjoy, even though they're about to pass?
Yes, so thank you, Brother Kiri. We especially encourage people to live, you know, until they have to die. So you know, I encourage my patients to go on holidays, to go to the beach, to take walks, to be with family, to be present, because often we live in the past or we live in the future, but we don't live in the moment. Actually, I have a patient who has memory loss. So she's got the most beautiful life, even though she's got stage 4 cancer. And her son and herself and I were laughing this weekend, and we were just sharing how everyone tries to teach mindfulness, and she's very mindful because she does not even remember that she's got stage 4 cancer. And she's really so happy. And so can I, you know, stay in tune with the energy that I am, not this energy that's waning in the body, you know, because the body is waning in its energy, but the spirit is eternal, untouchable, powerful. And can I hold on to that light that I am as often as I can, even if I'm lying in bed and I cannot get out of bed, but that is my power. I know I had another young lady about in her 30s, with multiple bone fractures, HIV positive, and blind in one eye, shingles, osteoporosis. Just to carry her, you would fracture. And she was a king in her castle, on her bed, in her diaper. But she knew that she was more than that body. And she had a long journey, having acquired HIV through blood transfusions, because she had a disorder that needed regular blood transfusion. And really a king. When I knocked on her door, she had a sign, if you don't like the air conditioning, stay out. So I loved her autonomy. And her secret was her spirituality. So she lived with the awareness of who she really is, not that body, but this amazing spirit. And God was also her power. So that was her two secret weapons. And, she created a blog, and this must have been 10 years ago when blogs were not that popular. She had a following, blind, broken, but powerful. So we can make excuses that I can't, but we have to choose life and choose to shine. And what I choose dictates my experience. And so for each one of us, I mean, even until this day, when I look at the world around me, I think, can I be lost in pettiness, or can I stay in the power of this moment? Because time is short, and we never know what the next moment will hold. So live it, enjoy it, love life, love God, love humanity. And so that's the feeling. And I think the whole world is recognizing the need to step into our inner power, because everything physical is crumbling, no matter where you look throughout the entire globe. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions you'd like to share? Yeah. Dr. Raksha, you made the statement of one day at a time, and you throw in hope and peace and so on. And that's how we have to be positive in that light. That step forward is always the encouragement and the positivity that you need. I know these are easy to say, but again, you need that power, and that power comes from somewhere.
Yeah, the slogan is hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So that's the aim, just keep that shining light bright. So that's the hope in the non-tangible, but also prepare tangibly, so I can be at peace no matter what happens. So yeah, that's the saying, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So then we live day by day. I know during the riots in KwaZulu-Natal, we had written a few commentaries, and I had put it on my status, and one of my patient's grandson actually was quite troubled with bullying at school. And he loved the one day at a time I will be able. So just a 7-year-old boy, but even at that age, the challenges little children have to face. And he just held on to that hope that one day at a time, I will be able. Otherwise, even as a young child now, life is being crushed with the severe stressors externally. And so again, the message to hold on to the intangible, hold on to the subtle, and the subtle is our power now, not the physical.
Has anybody plucked up some courage to fire a question at Dr. Raksha?
So interview is nice and long, actually.
Yeah. Looks like nobody has a question for you, but I'm sure they've enjoyed it as much as I did watching the interview, and we're live in the studio if one uses that. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to the people who have taken time to connect. We do appreciate that. And thank you.
So thank you, Kadravelan, for that beautiful interview. I enjoyed just recapping and listening to our interaction. It must have been last year during the height of COVID, and it was really precious just to hear and to become aware of the need of the time.
Well,
thank you for making time for having all these interviews and so that we can all hear personal stories.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I mean,
and in Africa, storytelling is the way, isn't it? So
absolutely.
It's a wonderful way to learn from stories.
Yes, I think just to close it, I mean, what you're saying is that a year ago that we had this conversation, but how relevant it is still today. I mean, you know, it's almost that we could feel that we are living this all the time. But thank you again.
So thank you all for joining and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Om Shanti, everybody.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Sister Aruna, for your time.
Yes, thanks, Sister Aruna, for hosting us.